Yeah, I'm a redneck woman, ain't no high class brown. I leave my Christmas lights on my house all year long. So you have to deal with Hazel, don't be crying for me, everybody else is too. I'm the tallest duck in the neighborhood. Okay. Hazel, hey. Okay, well, I don't know. We gotta make sure we don't miss no thunder and lightning. It says I'm not available right now. Even though your partner does think about you sometimes, they are not available. They're not emotionally available. You guys need to look up what emotionally available means. And you guys, already know that you guys didn't have good communication between one another. It was very difficult for you guys to even be in the same room. It's not, it's not the way it should be. And we started a karmic read, and the thunder and the lightning just started blazing, dude. I literally said the word karmic, and it just started dumping down. It says that they hope that you can forgive me one day. This person does love you. They're just very smart too. You feel like you're smart enough to know that they're going through something, and they know that they're smart enough to know that they're going through something too. It's too much for this person. And they don't know how to express what they're going through. It makes them feel weak. This person also feels like they have to do things that they need to do alone at this time. But it does say here on this card, I look for you everywhere. They do love you. I hope that you can forgive me one day. I'm not available right now. They miss you like crazy. They're making this decision out of strength. It takes a lot of strength to be able to withhold yourself from the person that you love. It's time for me to heal now in the reverse. They may not plan to recover from this, and it's a thing. Some people, as you've known yourself, your parents, they are in their older ages now, and that is a relationship that you can compare to this. It's not all relationships, as much as we want, do get better. People don't always get closer, and it can be the people that you love the most. It always is, We don't care about being close to the people that, but yeah, this card says you came closer to me than anyone. They know that they crossed the line with you, and that may have scared them. They may know themselves, and that this person could honestly be capable of hurting another person. They could be sadistic and actually enjoy doing that as well. For those of you guys who have never seen 50 Shades of Grey, it's a form of that. It's a form of anything that wants to hurt another person, and they actually enjoy seeing another person in pain. They actually could have possibly fell in love with you for real, and seeing that the pain that you were in, it actually hurt them for the first time. And I don't think this person's heart has ever been hurt before. And they don't know what to do with that feeling either. And they also know that they're not going to change that behavior about themselves. This person could have an addiction, and it hurts you, and they get hurt by hurting you. I'm starting to understand our connection in the reverse. I feel like this person's getting farther away from you as the day goes on. They're saying their life is not together right now. And saying that we both know I'm not the one for you. Yeah, this person knows that what they're doing is bad, and they know that you're a good person, They know that they're bad. They think they're a bad person. They're not willing to change. They do know what they do need to do to change, but they're not gonna. They may not want to. Or they just may not want to do it. They might not understand that there are better things out there in life for them. They might be just to that point where maybe they are a little hopeless and they have that attitude of somebody who gave up. The attitude of there is no point. And it is very hurtful to both of you. I don't think this person fully believes it, but if they did have hope, it's down to about, 20%, maybe 30. I bury myself in work to forget you. They wish that they could share their good news with you. Whenever anything happens throughout the day, they go home and they miss the way that you guys talked. They miss the way that you cared about them. They know that you cared about them. Like I said, they're not going to change, and out of respect for you, this person's leaving you in the dust, and that's actually just really kind of a sad and touching and really selfless thing to do, as selfish as it might seem. It's touching me deeply in the heart, and I know actually how that goes. Edward did the same thing. He has he's a Scorpio, and he was able to do that. We had a very strong connection. But that's where I came up with the word toxic in the first place. One of his friends told him during a phone call that our relationship was toxic. And he relayed that to me. Ooh, see, toxic and karmic. That was cool. Did you guys see that? I hope so. Yay! I would have been so sad if I didn't get that on camera. I love you guys so much. This is a karmic. You guys are breaking that soul tie, that soul bond. And it actually is very emotional even for me. This is really a cool conversation to be having during a storm, and it's just a carry on of the read that we were already having before we knew. And 2 words, lightning struck, karmic and toxic. And I'll never forget this day with you guys, because I've never done a read in a lightning storm before, but I just love nature, and I love having realizations, and realizations, they don't feel good. They hurt. Because we have to be honest with ourselves, and we have to take a look at the reality of things. And sometimes that means that we can't be with people that we miss. And sometimes it also means that we might be toxic for people, and they might be toxic for us or each other. And that this was the reason why you met. It wasn't to actually be married. It wasn't to have kids and be together forever. It was to learn your worth. It was to learn boundaries and self-respect and limitations, standards. It was to know what you want before entering. And it was to finish off something that you had already previously started. Either you were doing this to other people and this was your karma in return, somebody doing this to you. If you guys have... But I don't feel like that. I feel like you guys had a soul tie that was deeper and more meaningful. And I think, honestly, it's very equal. I think both of you guys would teach each other the same or a very similar lesson. You mean equally the same amount to each other. You both love each other a lot. I think you both know for sure that it's been a pretty rough road. And it does say here in this one that this person wishes that they had treated you better. They are sad and they are sorry. And it does say that they're afraid to contact you. But it says finding out the truth crushed me in the reverse, which means you don't know the truth yet. There's something deeper going on with this person or with you that you're not telling the other person. And when this does happen, it will crush whoever doesn't know. But that is probably why they're withdrawing from you and not telling you things. If you're trying to figure things out and they're keeping it from you, they know that whatever you will find out is going to hurt you badly. So that's not something that you want to feel, because justice may not always be as good as it sounds. Justice, you know, finding things out is a very hard thing to actually realize. Sometimes when you're in the middle of a heated moment too, you're like, I'm gonna figure this shit out, and you're just like on a roll, an angry roll. And I've gotten to the point many times when I could have had justice served upon many of my family, but then I thought it through and I thought, what would that look like, honestly? Would I actually have wanted my family to go to jail or anything? Like, you gotta understand what would happen to people if justice was served for things. The consequences for us throwing fits and being reactive, because you will regret those things later, just like you're doing now, missing the person that you no longer have around you. You guys had moments where you guys could have handled things more calmly, more collectively, and you didn't. You were very irrational and you were very dramatic, and this caused a lot of fighting. Second time, I'm afraid to contact you. This person, you may know actually what this person did, and maybe it didn't crush you. Maybe you're like, I've known what you were doing the whole time. I'm not surprised. I'm actually irritated that you actually thought that I didn't know. And maybe the minute that they finally get to figure out what you wanted from them all along, which is just to be there for them. You wanted them to see that you knew what to do, trust in your guidance, allow you to love them. You were really there. You were dedicated. You allowed this person to rob you, steal, like everything, lie to you, cheat. You still hold it down. And you know what? You might be getting to a place where it doesn't crush you anymore. Maybe you're finally, says I hide behind material things, and I think you're a lot like me when I went to Alaska. Exactly. We need to let each other go. When we went to Alaska, I was out there for 4 months at a time and would come back for maybe 1 month at a time. I spent a few years out there on the boat, away from everyone, my family, Zeke, and my kids were being taken care of, and I learned a lot about myself. And I left the house. I left my job. I left my family. I left my kids. I left all my belongings, and all I could take for 120 days was 30 pounds to 50 pounds in a duffel bag or less. So I just knew that lesson that year in particular was to let go of material things. I realized after losing my kids and after losing Martin that life was pretty rough, and that really, even if I birthed a child, I could have it taken from me. And I realized that my relationships were temporary, and my work was temporary, and that my boss, he committed suicide, and all of a sudden everything changed there, and it was like everything was constantly changing, and it was all physical. It was physical, and it was making me change with it, and I had to let it go. I had to let go of my addiction to hiding behind a career title, the way I looked, the house I lived in, the way I sounded, what people thought, expectations. I had to let it go. I had to heal, focus on myself. There's a busy world all the time out there, you know what I mean? So that was the beginning of my awakening. Some of you guys need to get yourself out of where you're at, away from everyone, miles and miles away, where you can't return. I was out on the middle of the Bering Sea, so I was clear over in Dutch Harbor on the ocean in a boat, and it was incredible for me. I loved it with all my heart. In fact, look at my sweater. I showed it in my other video, but I'll show you now. This is my actual Dutch Harbor boat. I don't know if you guys can see it, but that is the ship itself that I went and was on. And it was amazing. And I'll never, ever, ever forget it. And I'm just so grateful to have separated myself from people and their expectations of me and my expectations of myself. I realized I was my biggest critic, and I was a big perfectionist. I wanted things to be perfect for, really, I think at the end of the day, me mostly. Because my family misses me all the time, and I always claim that I still need to be working. I'm gonna look at all my cute little tarot stuff. Villain tarot. Oh, let's read an oracle. from Queen of the Moon Oracle. Queen of the Moon, which is Cancer. Me. Hello. Okay. Flower Moon. Do not give up. You have planned for this. Take no notice of what others think or say about you. What are the odds about that? This is great. Open and rise. Someone around you may be jealous of your success. Mark your victories in your book. This is your positive affirmation. I joyfully blossom and I feel no fear. I joyfully blossom and I feel no fear. In the country in which I live, there really aren't a lot of meadows. That classic kind of gently rolling open space often between a forest or mountains. This kind of space whispers to you, here, rest a while, lay down, my friend, it's soft. The first true meadow I saw was in Yosemite National Park in the United States. It was early spring. The snow had pretty much stopped, and nature had taken her opportunity. In front of me, as far as I could see, was a green meadow of grasses, covered in blossoming flowers. It was so beautiful, it almost made me cry. I just stood there for a long while, taking it all in. It felt so hopeful and new and joyful. So I felt hopeful and renewed and joyful. I walked into the meadow and was soon surrounded by the blossoming. The flower fragrance drifted up with the breeze. There was a dusting of pollen on my clothes. I could hear the content buzzing of a few insects. In that moment, I was so grateful to be a part of the meadow. Anything seemed possible here. Hi, baby.
You left the door open and now the entire floor is soaked.
And what?
You left the door open and now the entire floor is soaked.
And I let what in? Floors?
No, the entire floor is soaked.
It's okay. From the rain?
Yeah.
That's fine. I was getting we were having a rainy experience. Is that what slammed, or did you slam it? Did you slam the door, Halo?
What?
Huh?
What?
Did you slam the door?
The wind did.
Okay, thank you. Okay. There is a time to blossom. We plant seeds, physically and metaphorically, so they will blossom into what we intend. Perhaps the journey has been a long and hard one, but we shouldn't give up, especially if we are close. Fear is usually the thing that prevents flow and blossoming. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of change, fear of what people think. I could go on. But no, if we can release the useless fears and begin to enjoy our growth and eventually blossoming, it will all be worthwhile. Your companion stone for this month is the ruby. This could be for my Leos. I know ruby is for my Leos, but this is for everybody. Just dealing with anything. And I love you. There's a cool read.